What is a blockchain? Hello, welcome to the Soldex Academy. Today, we're going to discuss blockchain technology. A blockchain is a chain of blocks that contain useful, immutable information. It's a distributed ledger that is completely open to anyone. Blockchain is decentralized, meaning that there's no central authority that controls it. The control lies in the hands of all the participants scattered around the world, and anyone can join if they wish to. In other words, it's a peer-to-peer network. Although the concept of blockchain originated in 1991, it was mostly unknown until 2009 when Satoshi Nakamoto adopted it in creating the first cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. Blockchain makes it possible to eliminate third parties like banks, PayPal, or Visa, and other financial institutions in financial transactions. Blockchain is trustless, faster, and cheaper than traditional financial institutions. To better understand the concept of blockchain, let's explain it bit by bit in very simple terms. What is a block? A block is simply a collection of data. The data can be anything, ranging from a list of transactions, files, smart contracts, or documents. A block can only contain a certain amount of information, and when it gets filled, another block is added to it. A chain of blocks is then called a blockchain. How does a blockchain work? To explain how a blockchain works, let's use Bitcoin blockchain, the most popular blockchain. Each block in the Bitcoin blockchain contains 1. The transaction details, such as the sender's address, the receiver's address, and the amount of digital assets sent. 2. The hash of the block. 3. The hash of the previous block. A hash, in simple terms, is a function that converts one value to another. It's the output that is generated when an input of any length is made into a blockchain. Bitcoin uses a hash algorithm called SHA-256, or Secure Hashing Algorithm 256. This means that no matter how much your input is, you'd always get an output of 256 bits in length. Hashes are one-way functions, meaning that a hash, the output, cannot be used to get the original input. It only confirms that the data that produced the hash matches the original data. A block's hash can also be likened to a fingerprint because it identifies the block and it's unique. Once a block is created, the hash is calculated as well. A block's hash can't be changed without changing the entire block. Also, changing anything inside the block will automatically change the hash. Because a block has its own hash that cannot be changed without altering the block and the previous block's hash, the blockchain is so secure and almost immutable. Here's an example. As we can see, here's a blockchain containing 5 blocks, and each block has its own hash and the previous block's hash. Tampering with the third block would change its hash, thereby making it not correspond with blocks 2 and 4. This renders blocks 2 and 4 invalid, as they no longer have the correct hash of block 3, thereby rendering the entire blockchain invalid. Also, because the blockchain is a distributed ledger visible to the general public, no additional blocks can be added to the chain without other parties involved in Bitcoin mining agreeing. Anyone can join in the process of generating hash for blockchains, in other words, Bitcoin mining. And when anyone joins, they get a complete record of all the previous blocks. Therefore, it's almost impossible to add a fraudulent block to the blockchain or change an existing block because the other miners in the network would reject it as an invalid block. It's only possible if someone takes over 50% of the entire peer-to-peer network. In order to further mitigate the chances of this happening, the Bitcoin network has something called proof of work, or POW. Proof of work is a form of proof that one party, a miner, proves to others that a certain computational effort has been expended. It's simple for a computer to generate random hashes for blocks in the Bitcoin network. In order to make this more complex, a target for valid hashes is established. The lower the target, the smaller the number of valid hashes, and the more difficult it is to calculate one. It takes approximately 10 minutes for a new hash to be calculated and a new block mined. By slowing down the time needed to create new blocks and increasing the difficulty in generating a hash, the Bitcoin network further increases the security and immutability of the blockchain. So to successfully alter the Bitcoin blockchain, one would need to redo the proof of work required for each block, change all the hashes in the different blocks, and take control of more than 50% of the peer-to-peer network. The chances of this happening are almost zero. Now that you've understand how a blockchain works, let's explain how a simple transaction works in a blockchain. Here we have Judy and Maria with their Bitcoin balance of 5 and 10 respectively. Let's say Maria wishes to send 3 Bitcoins to Judy. For her to do this, she broadcasts the intended transaction details to all the Bitcoin miners. This transaction contains the amount of Bitcoin she wishes to send Judy, Judy's public address, her public key, and her digital signature. Her digital signature is made with her private key. This enables the miners to validate and ensure that she has a sufficient amount of Bitcoin to perform the transaction, in this case 3 or more. Once validated, the miners input the details in a block and mine the block to generate its own unique hash. When a miner successfully mines the block, they can broadcast the newly mined block to other miners. The other miners check the block to confirm its validity. Once confirmed, they add the block to the blockchain. Only then is the transaction complete. That's how a Bitcoin blockchain works in simple terms. To learn more about cryptocurrency and keep updated with blockchain technology, subscribe to Soldex Academy and check out our other crypto videos explaining technical crypto concepts in easily understandable terms.